Holy shit, I got an idea! Alright, idea time, right? So if you haven't been able to figure out already, we're going to be making meatloaf this week. Now meatloaf is a pretty simple thing. I don't know how well you can see from that far away. Now we've got our cutting board here with our nice Irish flag. That's about 2 ounces of diced carrots, 2 ounces of diced onions, 2 ounces of diced green pepper. We want this as finely diced as we can get. We're going to be using 6 hot dogs, roughly a pound right there. Awesome. You're going to need some breadcrumbs, garlic, cumin, touch of chili powder, obviously salt and pepper, come on. Then need barbecue, sriracha, mustard, and last but not least, to hold this whole mixture together, an egg. Now, we're going to bring you a little closer here in a second, show you how we cut the hot dogs. Alright, now to do a hot dog meatloaf, you're going to want to cut this as finely as you can. My best recommendation is to try and get as close to cutting the damn thing into eighths or something like that as you can. Don't worry too much, you know, like you'll see why here in a second, why we're not too worried. I'm going to cut one hot dog and show you what happens with all the hot dogs here in a second. So we've got them all kind of sliced, very thin. We're going to go across and cut them extra as thin as you can. If you don't have your knife techniques quite down, feel free to comment and we'll try to do a little knife techniques video sometime soon. See, because these here, they're looking a little thick. We don't need like a very perfect dice on this, so we're actually just going to wad it up and really mush it up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of the hot dogs and show you the next step on that. Alrighty, so once you've got your hot dogs broken down, we're going to try to deconstruct these hot dogs further and then reconfigure them. So take a fork, if you have a potato masher it might work better, and just try to mash up any of the larger bits into smaller bits. You could go food processor on this, but at that point I think it'd just be cheaper to buy ground beef. So, alright, we're going to call this good. I don't really see it getting too much better. So we're going to crack our egg. Boom. Go ahead and break that up. Stir it around just a hair. Veggies. Dumping those in. That's our green peppers, onions, and carrot. There you go. So a little sriracha. A little bit of mustard. Touch of barbecue sauce. Now don't do too much on your sauces because we are going to coat this with a sauce when we're all done. I'm a little scatterbrained right now. I should have mentioned that our oven is preheated to 400 degrees for this. You can go 450 for a little faster cook, but we're going to do 400 and broil it. So we've got little less than a quarter tablespoon of salt. I mean, hot dogs are, God only knows how much salt is in these things. A couple good cranks of pepper. I like a lot of pepper. Every recipe, a little garlic. Touch of cumin, not too much. You don't want this to taste all like taco-esque. And then chili powder. I like a good amount. I like it a little spicy. Not a whole lot of flavor in these bar-esque hot dogs, so you know, it just kind of creates a flavor texture. So we're going to go ahead, mix this up real good, you know, try to get a good blend. Once you got it kind of blended, you're going to go ahead, take some breadcrumbs. If you notice, there's actually a picture of Meatloaf on these breadcrumbs. So you're going to want to take a good chunk of breadcrumbs. They're going to help solidify everything. So you're going to want to try to make sure that you see a little bit of breadcrumb and moisture on everything, because that egg and that breadcrumb is going to hold everything together. We may actually do a second egg, just depending on how everything looks here. Definitely going to do some more breadcrumb. You can mix this in a bigger bowl. I'm actually just mixing it in this one because this is what I'm going to bake it in. So, now that we've got everything mixed, we're going to compress all of it. Like, it will stay together much better compressed. Get it as flat as you can. Work around in circles or squares, you know, whatever style Pyrex you got. Doesn't that just look delicious, Kylie?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah, Kylie's not going to eat this. You know, a couple of pointers here. Couple of pointers. So I'm about to put this in the oven, but if you want some good sides with this, you can never go wrong with a can of green beans and something simple like mashed potatoes. Green beans, mashed potatoes, great side. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to stick this in there. Now I'm going to show you how to make the sauce. It's probably going to be in the oven for about 40 minutes or so. So go ahead and set your timer and get ready for sauce time. Okay, so our meatloaf isn't super huge. It's actually not a whole lot bigger than this particular Pyrex. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a good amount of barbecue sauce. Cool. It's going to be good there. A lot of people may call this blasphemy as far as meatloaf sauce goes, but we're going to go a little bit of mustard. Not a whole lot, just a quickie squirt like so. And then sriracha. We're going to go kind of heavy on this. I like spicy food. I know there are people out there who don't, so I'd just like to let you know, if you don't like spicy food, ketchup. Sriracha is just spicy ketchup. And as you can see, I basically just covered the barbecue sauce and mustard mixture with that. Add just a touch more garlic into that. And a quickie splash of salt. If you have garlic salt, you could actually probably just use that. Cool. Take our fork, same one we mashed the meatloaf up with, and we're just gonna mix that. So it's a nice even color. Meatloaf always looks best when it's covered with a slightly brownish red sauce, and well, this is ours right there. Always make sure you taste before you put it on your meatloaf. Perfect. Ooh, it's got some kick. Well, it's got a lot of kick. So we're going to return once our meatloaf is done baking and show you the results. Just before it's done baking, we'll go ahead and put that on there, and then I'll see you later. Alright, so we've got about 5 minutes left on our timer here, and this meatloaf is coming along pretty well. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take this thing out of here. Kylie is currently in bed. Set this down on a pot warmer. So, Kylie being asleep, I apologize for the poor camera angles and mediocre technique. I'm doing this one-handed. You go ahead and take some spoonfuls of sauce. Just kind of brush that on there. You could use like one of those butter brushes. We don't have one of those butter brushes. So we're going to go ahead and just scoop up as much of the sauce as we can. Might not have made enough sauce. So we're just going to do a nice thin little layer of this. Oh yeah, there we go. That's looking pretty good. It's probably sinking into some of the little holes it can seep into. Yeah. Still kind of zesty and spicy. And we're just going to go ahead and grab this. Woo! Holy guacamole, that's hot. Oh, camera is turned on me. Well, all we did was pop this meatloaf back into this oven here, and we're just going to let it go until the timer runs out. Actually, the timer is at like 2 minutes. I'm going to clear that and do 5 more minutes. And it should be ready to eat here before too long. Alright, and so now for the true example. It looks about what you would expect from a meatloaf made of chopped up hot dogs. Let's get a nice saucy bite in here. Those are always the best. It's actually not bad. I'm gonna try a bite without the sauce, just because I wound up doing a pretty light amount of sauce, so there's not gonna be a ton of saucy bites. Tastes kind of like what you'd expect from a meatloaf made of hot dogs. I mean, it stayed together fairly well. All in all, I'd give this one like a 7 out of 10. You know, like it's not the world's greatest thing. It's a meatloaf made of hot dogs. This bit looks nice and crispy though. Yeah, I mean, it's about what it sounds like. Hot dog, meatloaf. I'm Houston the Dishwasher, getting ready to sign out. This has been Doggin'it, your favorite show where we take a recipe and we put a dog in it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for next week. See ya. Peace and Roonies.